playoffs. A new report suggests the Cardinals could be playing football in the desert come January, Brock.
Ooh, that's nice. How about we hear from the Cards quarterback Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. going into week 3 against the Lions. We're talking about it right now. PHNX Cardinals.
Hey, welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star. We got Brian Baldinger right around the corner here on a football Wednesday. We also got our friends, Bet365, the presenting partner on today's fine program. Download the Bet365 app today. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Maybe get a little Cards underdog action. Find out why it's never ordinary, not even for a second, with our friends at Bet365. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Brock. Damon Dawg returns behind the mic today. We're going to hear from Marv, K1. What a loaded Wednesday of content here. Just 5 days, 4 or 5 days roughly, from this Sunday's kickoff at State Farm Stadium versus the Detroit Lions, Bo.
That's right. And if you're tuning in on Twitter, jump into the YouTube broadcast. The water is always perfect. I want to say hi to Monty Austinfort's burner. How about Big Bird 92, Emilio Schaff, Fishbowl Flash, Jason's here again, and of course Brandon, the entire squad here. If I missed your name, it doesn't mean that I don't care about you. I care about each and every one of you people in the chat. We're excited to talk to Baldy. We're excited to hear from Kyler Murray. We're excited to hear from Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jonathan Gannon today. It's week 3.
We're fired up. We're talking playoffs today because we're big time sickos. We've asked everybody. We're gonna ask Baldy. We're gonna ask Mina Kimes. We're gonna ask. We already did Michael Wilson. When you're 500 in this league, guess what? You're in contention, baby. I don't care if it's week 2 or 22. Let's talk postseason. Let's also talk getting 500 likes here on a football Wednesday. We appreciate you all, and hopefully you're big time sickos with us, because again, like, all I hear the calamity of, well, teams like the Ravens, the Rams, like, if their season's not dead, it's certainly on the line this week. Whereas, I mentioned on yesterday's show, advanced metrics suggest the Cardinals have exceeded expectations from not only an on-field perspective, from a win-loss perspective, better than any team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if the league just assumed the Cardinals were going to start 0-4 before Washington.
Yeah.
The Cardinals sit here 1-1, very viable 1-1, could have easily been 2-0. Much closer to 2-0 than they are 0-2, Brock. And that gets the folks on the Twitter streets talking about postseason odds. Without any delay, let's take a look. This is from, and I'll have to take a look at the graphic here, Damon Dawg, Tyler M. Webb on Twitter. Yeah. Odds to make the postseasons as of now. The Arizona Cardinals started the year at just over 20%. They have vaulted a dramatic double dose now, 41%, and dare I say climbing in the NFC.
This is where you just want to wrap your arms around the analytics and metrics nerds out there. It's like, thank you for punching these numbers and improving the faith of this fan base, as it as you said, almost doubles from just over 20 to 41%. They're in the realm of what we thought this Cardinals team could be. I'm not the Niners there, 42%. That's shocking to me. But to see the Bears and the Falcons and the Dolphins, the Eagles, the fraudulent Eagles, I don't know how the Commanders are up there at 45%, but like that's you'll take that as it continues to trend in the right direction. It's not going the opposite, like you said, the Ravens, the Giants, the Rams at the bottom of this, as we're eulogizing their season already here in week 2, going into week 3. So it's good. It's a welcome sight to see. And now, can you push that even further, right? Can you continue to push the everybody to believe that maybe in year 2 of a rebuild, you're ahead of schedule. And what puts you ahead of schedule is great and consistent quarterback play, good coaching, and development from the players that you drafted into this organization, not too long ago.
Let's see that chart one more time, if we could, Damon, Dawg. I think it's interesting. The Cardinals, they're in a bucket here with a bunch of teams in their own division. And then you look at really the only teams that have differentiated themselves, of course, are the 2-0 teams like Tampa, Minnesota, and Seattle, and New Orleans, I should say. Of course, Seattle, big-time frauds, and they get more fraudulent play this weekend playing the Tua-less Miami Dolphins, but I digress. The Arizona Cardinals firmly in a spot. I mean, hell, look, they're above the 36% Detroit Lions, who they host this weekend. I think with the back end of the schedule being so favorable, where you have New England, where you have Seattle twice, when you have, of course, the Carolina Panthers, worst team in the NFL, you can look at your chances as being boosted, not to take a term from our friends at Bet365, dramatically. And I think this plays into an account. I don't think the Cardinals, even if they lose Sunday, people are going to be out on them, potentially making a run. I think the optics have a lot to do with that, just because what we saw earlier this year. I think even though they lost week 1, there were many more positives than negatives, and that is transferable. Whereas we're watching Pittsburgh win with Justin Fields and 1 passing touchdown through 2 weeks. Most of us assume that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to win like Seattle is in overtime against Jacoby Brissett. Like, team after team, you can dissect this. Now, I say all that, Bo Brock, you can absolutely blow the playoffs in September. You can't make the playoffs in September. Ask the LA Rams. Like, they are, we joke about it. I joke about it. Like, if they lose this Sunday, their season, like, they're not a viable team. They'll probably start selling off parts. They're missing a bunch of players, injured reserve. They have no offensive linemen. For the Arizona Cardinals, and this is the point we've been preaching this entire offseason, their ticket's not going to be punched now, or even, first couple weeks of October. But what it does is you're setting yourself up like a wise financial planner. Let's put a little bit of money away. Let's build some acumen, right? Let's build some capital. So when it's time to strike, which is the second half of the season, you've got a little nest egg to say, oh, I'm going to go buy that beachfront property now that interest rates are down, right? I'm going to go out and splurge a little bit because I have an opportunity to. There's a recession. I'm going to come in with my big fat wad of cash. That's what the Cardinals are doing now. Can they bank 5 wins in 10 games?
Yeah.
Talked about it. To then look at the back half of the schedule and say, well, there's at least 4 wins here out of 7. And I think they're right on track with where we hope they would be.
I went to urgent care today. I'm so sick. And I asked the doctor, and he said, it's because you're talking playoffs right now. I'm going to get grosser. Damon, Dawg, let's take a look at the schedule real quick. Can we just throw up the Cardinal schedule?
The grossest.
Really, there it is. Oh, yeah. Week 3 against the Lions. But as you mentioned, like the first 10 weeks, we knew this. This is something we were playing, forecasters back when it dropped in May. And can you keep your head above water through these first 10 weeks? Because then it thins out considerably after your bye against a division opponent that was, if you had to identify anyone, we thought that the Rams were going to be better, and that the Seahawks, if you're going to hurdle anybody, was going to be them. But then you got, the Vikings, who've come out on fire, but still nobody's buying, Sam Darnold stock. The Patriots, the Panthers are the worst team in the league. And then, the Rams again. So you have an ability to stack wins. Can you just put yourself in a position to get there? And this is where, starting this week through weeks 3 through 10, can you play 500 ball or better? Because if you do, man, are you're really just playing with house money.
I'm looking at weeks 14 through 17 right there. And it's just meat on the MF and bone right there. Here's a family show. Seattle at home, check. Drake May, Jacoby Brissett at home, check. An expansion level franchise Carolina team, check. And then the LA Rams, which I would be surprised if Stetson Bennett's not starting that game in week 7. There's your 4 wins. That gets you to 9 wins. And again, like, I'm not discounting their ability to win at Seattle, at Minnesota, and then certainly at San Francisco. So we've talked about it ad nauseum, keeping your head above water. And listen, we might be spinning a different tune next week. If the Arizona Cardinals beat the Detroit Lions this Sunday, We're not talking about playing 500 football anymore through 10 games. We're going to, at least I'm going to classify them as a very real threat to win the NFC West. Now, you have to knock off the big dog. That's easier said than done. Who is scoffing behind the mic? Who was that? That better not have been scumbag Shane Diefenbach swarming around there. This is real. This is real life. Why are you laughing? If the Arizona Cardinals beat the Detroit Lions on Sunday, we're going to sit here and say they're not a threat to win the NFC West.
Look, man, I love you, man. I mean, you're talking about on Sunday, you didn't really see a path to victory of the Rams, and now you're saying like NFC West or bust.
I said I needed to see it with my own eyes. They had to prove it to me.
And they did. I'm
sorry. If the Cardinals go a near win at Buffalo, dismantling Sean McVay and beating the NFC runner-up last year in Detroit, and everybody's darn.
I like that you call it a near win in Buffalo now. Like after you, like
because they earned it
after week one, you were a broken man. You were a broken man, and there was
the calamity in Buffalo.
Oh yeah, I don't even recognize this guy anymore.
How dare you?
But you did say, hey, if they win, I'm going to be insufferable. I'm talking playoffs. And what are we doing here on Wednesday? I have
always been positive. I've never said a bad thing about this franchise a day in my life. I've always been a believer. I was on this show preaching patience after the loss at Buffalo. No, in all seriousness. So you're telling me if they beat the Detroit Lions and we come on the show on Monday and people are fired up and people are gonna talk about division and you're not gonna entertain that? You don't want to talk about that?
No, I think because it would be a little premature. Like you can start to talk about, hey, let's get grosser and continue to bring up the schedule and start to do win-loss here. But we know, like, I think that this week, like, I was talking to Craig Morgan, of course, our great beat reporter, about it today while we were at the facility, where if they do win against the Lions, I mean, it puts them in an unbelievable great spot. Like they would be 2-1 with the prospect with a very good chance to improve the 3-1 against a very bad Washington team. Cliffy Boy comes to town and you just crush them to go 3-0 at home to start the season. But then you have the true test on the road at San Francisco the following week. That's where I'll start to say, hey, that's when I'm going to start to that's when we can have the conversation about the division.
Yeah, that's fine. But again, like I'm factoring in everything. I look at the big picture. I don't live in a microcosm of this team and the roster that they have right now. I look at the fact that San Francisco is missing Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. I'm just going to go out on the limb. I don't think he's going to be viable all year. I just have that feeling. I have no backing or factual information to back that up. Deebo Samuel is out. Their defense is a shell of itself, right? Like to me, they're a very beatable team. Like I rewatched that Vikings game last night. Like the Vikings took them to the woodshed. Like Kyler Murray can do that. Now it's early in the season. It's a long stretch, but here's the difference is that if the Cardinals again can rack up signature wins against good teams, there's so much soft, scheduling in the second half that'll allow them even to regress a little bit. But no, I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, if they beat the Detroit Lions on Sunday, I'm going to be ready to talk about the NFC West.
I don't doubt that. I mean, you said it the previous week. You're a man of your word. You're absolutely, yeah. And
but it wasn't, in all seriousness, it wasn't just about that they won. It's how they won.
Absolutely. And then it's how they lost to Buffalo. They're, they had opportunities and they couldn't cash in. I mean, I tried to mention that week one, you wouldn't listen. You said, sky is falling.
I don't remember saying that. I remember saying, hey, you have to prove it to me. And they did.
Yeah.
They're clearly.
We continue to prove. You beat a team in the Detroit Lions, albeit they haven't played their best football yet. They've played actually very pedestrian football. Like the strength that we thought that they were going to have, like their offensive line hasn't been a strength so far through 2 games. So, can the Arizona Cardinals, can they hold off the Lions, who I believe are going to get right at some point this season? Can they hold that off?
Well, you and I talked about this off air. What if the Detroit Lions are just the 2016 Arizona Cardinals, where everybody thought it was their year after they finished the runner-up in the NFC? Aiden Hutchinson is Chandler Jones, defensive player of the year. They've got an older quarterback, Jared Goff, Carson Palmer, and they've got a bravado head coach. And then they have a down year, right? And they, for whatever reason, go 7-9 and, maybe 8-9 this year if you're Detroit. Like that's possible. We've seen those regressions before. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but here's what I will say. I'm not going to sit on Monday's show if they lose to Detroit, assuming it's not ugly and there are, God forbid, any injuries, and say, I still don't think they can make the playoffs. I still very much like their positioning. Even if
the thing about this week is you want another solid performance. You just want, I mean, everybody wants to see their team perform well, and you want them to come out with a win. And I guarantee, like, even with what I'm about to say, like, you're still gonna, if they don't get it done come Monday morning or come the post game show, we're picking up the pieces. What could have they done to win? Right. And they didn't get it done, and you can use it as a strike against you, even though probably shouldn't be as knee jerk depending on what happens. But on the other side of that is a warm blanket in the Washington Commanders, like the ability to immediately get right. Like, you didn't view that, like, if you missed out on the opportunity week 1, you're looking at that schedule at that time, you're like, well, if they're not going to get their first win, then when are they going to get it?
That was my point last week,
right?
Because I watched Sean McVay slap around this franchise for 8 years. So
and now McVay's former quarterback that is 8-1 hasn't lost since his rookie year against this organization. And we've seen too many, like, there's been too many damn times, and we'll probably talk about it more closer to game time, that Jared Goff has been going bad and then faces the Arizona Cardinals and gets right. Like, Jared Goff has had some of his best performances of his careers, and it makes me sick against this team. And, like, as you continue to rewrite the narrative for this team, this Cardinals team, Jared Goff has just been one of those guys, one of those thorns in their side that you get another opportunity, another crack at it in consecutive weeks.
Most of those outings came against Vance Joseph, who no longer is here. I'm choosing to believe, and maybe it lasts 1 week here in 2024, that this defense in particular, Bo, plays different at home, with this home crowd behind them, feeding off the energy of the Red Sea and the Bird Gang, and then playing off this high-powered second overall NFL in points per game offense. Like, I don't expect this defense to travel every week, but I don't think it's nuts to suggest for a Detroit team who has not found their footing offensively yet, especially through the air. They're still running the ball effectively when they choose to do it. Like, this defense should be able to hold Detroit under 30 points. And then it's up to Kyler Murray. Like, I expect it's a 3-point line with our friends at Bet365 favoring Detroit. I expect this to be a field goal game one way or the other. And I think if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan, like, you're trying to enter maybe a class of teams, a hierarchy that maybe you didn't think that they were going to play in. But the ultimate elixir to that is to play a Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray comes out and looks like he did on Sunday, like, I don't care what Jared Goff does, the Cardinals are going to win the game again. Like, that Kyler Murray's play, no matter if it's, defensively, they could vomit all over themselves. They could have another, embarrassing second half. Kyler Murray looks like that, it's game over. And that is the beauty of the quarterback position. That's why it's the number one paid position in all of, professional sports, the reputation that you have to have. So I'm riding this Kyler Murray hot streak. I think he is going to perform better than Jared Goff this weekend because I've got recent examples to show.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a rookie Jared Verse coming off the edge who whiffs twice on a scramble drill, and Braden Fisk who's power sliding across the field trying to take him down as well. But it's Aiden Hutchinson who's very real. He's 4 sacks, right? But can you find a way? And you should have confidence, like, that they can find ways to give Kyler Murray enough opportunities to make the plays that he made last week. Like, is it going to be as consistent? Like, are they going to march down the field each and every time they have the football, seemingly like they did in the first half, all but, one drive? Can they find a solution? And Drew Petzing even told us, yesterday, it feels like, hey, if you're prioritizing, we're aware that of a lot of the 11 defenders, but one guy in Aiden Hutchinson, if you're prioritizing, yeah, he's top priority. Yeah. So they've got to have him in their sights, and then, if they can slow down the pass rush, they should be able to run their offense that I think we know is the strength of this team. And when they run their offense, everything kind of just follows suit. So that would be the biggest part of this, as far as wanting to be an underdog and pull off the victory at home, and then potentially set yourself up for 3 straight wins at the nest.
We didn't get a ton of time to talk about it yesterday. Kyler Murray dropped a new vlog on his YouTube page pertaining to his preparation en route to the matchup against the LA Rams. And I felt like his messaging in that video kind of continued over to the presser today, Bo, as you and the rest of the local media met with K1, among with others we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I feel like Kyler Murray has seen this before with this franchise, where we can get amped up for quick starts, but it means very little to nothing. I mean, Kyler Murray to this day does not get credit nationally for taking the Cardinals to the playoffs with Cliff Kingsbury. Everybody wants to talk about the collapse. They want to talk about the loss to the Rams, who, by the way, won the Super Bowl that year. So I don't know if there's a better person to be equipped for this than K1. And I thought his comments were on point with that today, Bo.
Yeah, as far as Kyler continues to be more and more comfortable, talking to us, being transparent, but you can tell he's in a better spot. Kyler basically said he's not satisfied. Like, he just won the FedEx Air Player of the Week before his perfect quarterback rating of 158.3 and 3 touchdowns, is getting the respect. But he's like, you know what? I'm still hungry. Yeah. And then also we talk about this combination, this duo that took flight on Sunday in the first quarter, 4 catches, 130 yards and 2 touchdowns with him and Marvin Harrison Jr. And I asked Kyler, I said, after we talked to you in the post game, Marv said, it was a good performance, but when I look at Kyler's stat line, I'm a little disappointed because he had 4 drops, or he had 4 incompletions. They were all balls to me. So I asked K1, I was like, well, what is that just a testament to how locked in a guy like Marv is? And this was Kyler's answer.
Yeah, I mean, both of us. I mean, I told him, when we were on the field, actually, it's like it was eating me up. It's just things that me and him, but we're both, perfectionists in a way where it's like, we know we got to be able to connect on those, and we will. But just to get those opportunities in the game and not hit when you put all that work in, it's tough. Obviously, it's week 2. We haven't had, as many reps together as we'd love, but we'll get there. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, you can tell it's not a finished product too. And I think that's what excites most of us, that, these guys haven't had a ton of time to play together. Yeah, they were together most of the offseason, but it's different when you face, elite defenses, coverages, schemes, and you have to be able to adjust on the fly. And the Cardinals, and we heard this from Michael Wilson yesterday, like nothing changes with the process that they have. Gannon's emphasized that. I'm sure the same thing goes for K1, where this franchise, this team right now is lockstep with the same ideology. Everybody's on the same page. They've removed any and all egos from the locker room. And so they're all kind of born and bred the same way, where it doesn't matter who it is. Okay. Yeah. Somebody's going to get it done for us. And that's why I like this team so much now, especially offensively going into this year, is that you're not waiting for older players to break down. Instead, you're waiting for young players to find their niche, their groove, and grow into it, which, again, something that we have maybe never had across the board for a Cardinal team like this.
Yeah, and like standing in their way is a team that is similar, right? A tortured fan base who's not had nice things, that is getting nice things through drafting and developing and hitting and having a budding of ascending players, right? Yeah. And that's why we're sitting here and we're not saying, hey, here's all the past the victory over the Detroit, because we know it's looming. I see this in the chat. You guys are crushing it, by the way. Just talking about Michael Evans saying JG was not happy, man, today. LOL.
Scary.
Coley Jack is saying, why was JG mad? Ozzy's saying JG's locked in. And I think that's it. I asked him, I got a 3-word answer as far as, the team's approach following a loss last week and following a win this week. Is it the same process? And he's like, 100%. It stays the same. And I'm paraphrasing because it was more than 3 words. Yeah. He was short, to the point, and he knows that this is part of the gig and answering questions, and he'll answer questions to the best of his ability without, doing anything to compromise or put, vital information, in the public space. So, he is his focus is getting the Cardinals ready to win this game and staying is 100% locked in as they possibly can, with riding that wave of going from preparing for your upcoming game off a loss and preparing for one off the win, because it's probably more challenging when you just put up 41 points and held the opposing team to 10 points to say, hey, this is where we have to improve this week. This is where we have to stay focused.
They have a killer at head coach for the first time since Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
Where he can intimidate. I mean, I'm not intimidated, but he can strike fear into opposing fan bases, opposing coaching staffs, maybe the local media led by Bo Brock. Like that was some scary stuff today at the press conference.
Were you concerned about our well-being? Like he wasn't going to
I saw that and I said, you know what? I can celebrate. We can celebrate that dub. There's no celebratory presser for JG.
And that's how it needs to be. Right.
Can I just say too, one of my favorite JG-isms, and I picked it up again today, and it's something that he does, and I love that he does it because I've never seen anybody else do this, where he'll pose a question that no one is asking so that he can then say to himself and double down on another message point. So today he was like, a lot of people don't think corners need to be smart or our corners need to be smart. Well, actually, our corners are very smart. First of all, no one is saying that. No one is calling Max Melton and Sean Murphy-Bunting and Garrett Williams, who went to Syracuse, dumb. But Gannon wants to highlight the acumen of his corners. So he poses the question. He does that all the time. It's brilliant. And I wish I could. I am going to start incorporating that. Like everybody thinks I don't have a great set of hair. Actually, I do have a great set of hair. And how dare you? I'm going to start doing that on this show.
Some people say that this show hasn't won any awards. That's false. Actually, our producer is an award-winning producer, and Damon Dawg. Yeah,
damn right. People are saying the show's not number one. It actually is number one. And thank you for bringing that up. Actually, no one brought that up. Go back and watch the press conference.
No, I mean, you want a taste of it. I mean, he's asked the question as far as just kind of how his team deals with outside noise. Jonathan Gannon talking about just his players and how they deal with it.
I mean, truthfully, they don't listen to you. I don't either. No, I would say I actually do believe that. Now I know they're human and they hear things and they might read things and their buddies send them texts about, hey, this is what this guy said about you. He's talking shit about you, but they ignore that. But they keep receipts. I know that. I think that we have really mature and serious people in our locker room. And like I said on Monday, it's easy to turn the page when they turn on the tape of Detroit. So they know this week it's a week-to-week league. We got a really good opponent coming in here, and they know what it takes to prepare to give themselves a chance to win. So that's what our focus is on.
Serious dude. This is a guy that once pulled up to his fan base in his car in Detroit or in Philadelphia and talking about effing gut these guys.
Yeah.
And then went out and did just that to Brock Purdy. And no one talks about that anymore. But that was our introduction, a lot of us, to Jonathan Gannon, the person. And I feel like last year we kind of had to holster that a little bit because you're going to I hate guns, but a gunfight with a little switchblade, right? Or whatever kind of analogy you want to use. Whereas this a little spork to a sword fight. That's probably a better analogy. Now it's very different where they clearly know. And I don't know how good this team can be. We're screwing around like sickos talking about playoffs, but clearly he watches them in practice. They've had 2 off seasons. They feel like they can be pretty good. Obviously the evidence was there on Sunday. So it's up to him now to rein them in. And I think that they're not going to have any issue with that. I don't expect this team to get a big head.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the beginning of that clip though? Like just saying they don't care what you guys think or say based on where you felt like you had some part to play in the pass rush and Dennis Gardeck's 3-sack performance.
First of all, I feel like that comment from Gannon was directed at everybody but this show and this podcast. I have no doubt about that in my mind. No hesitation to say that.
Because when I was actually hearing him say that, I felt like he was speaking directly to Johnny Venerable.
You told me yesterday that they don't care what I think. I'm Mr. Positive guy. They should care. I'm a fanboy.
They're getting texts. Hey, this guy's talking crap about you. I'm just thinking like Dennis Gardeck getting it on his phone, and there's Johnny on the other side of it.
You're welcome, everybody. 3 sacks. Who do we need to target this week for a big game? I talked a bunch of smack about DJ Dallas this offseason. He has a return touchdown in week 1. I mean, let's pick a player this week. Let's see who can step up. But I look at that I'm not just saying this tongue in cheek. They're all on social media. The entire building's on social media, whether it's public or private, right? It's 2024. You'd have to be naive if you don't get fed that stuff. We have had over our tenure, and it still happens from time to time, whether it's current players or especially family members of players, slide up in our DMs because they're wide open here at PHNX Sports, my co-hosts and myself, and say, how dare you? Do you know ball? Have you played ball before? Do you know how hard this is, blocking assignments? A quick story here, and then I promise we can move on because we got Baldy right around the corner. AQ Shipley is on Pat McAfee touting up the Arizona Cardinals. Mm-hmm. My last memory of AQ Shipley was AQ Shipley's wife coming into my DMs telling me how I'm an idiot because I watched AQ Shipley blow pass protection after pass protection and then had to have his wife come correct me in his DMs, which I feel like was not his wife. It was actually AQ Shipley.
Oh, wow. Great detective work. And then also you had another Cardinals center come approach me because of things you said on social media and Billy Price.
He squared up Bo Brack and he said, do you have a problem?
Yeah.
And you're like,
you ever got anything to say? Let's talk about it. And I'm like, let me find my co-host.
Hey, Billy, how's high school, Billy? Let's put the tape on. Thank God for Yelda Frodo. We got a great center now. We got a great analyst and our guy, Brian Baldinger, right around the corner. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at Game Time, baby. I'm checking it every day. I'm procrastinating like the best of them. Cheapest ticket right now to get into State Farm Stadium this Sunday. It's gone down a little bit, and it's a trending game. It was $61, then $60, now $46. Get you in the building at State Farm Stadium. Plus, we're going to get you $20 off of that using the bonus code PHNX right now. Download the Game Time app today. Lowest ticket price guaranteed. Love their interface. Love their flash deals on top of sporting events. They've got other kind of events, musicals, festivals, tons of stuff, comedy shows. I'm constantly going to the Tempe Improv with my wife through Game Time. You can too. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the bonus code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. It might cover your whole purchase by the time we get to Sunday. Plus, they dish out parking passes, which are usually single digits. Terms and conditions apply. Again, create the account. Redeem the code PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? It's game time, Bo.
It's game time, baby. And it's also might be time for you to get yourself in a brand new vehicle from Sanderson Ford, the official vehicle deal partner. How about of PHNX Sports? We love Sanderson Ford. Of course, Arizona's largest Ford dealership, 65 beautiful acres right now. It's the largest one in the nation. And that's not the biggest thing. How about the deals they've got going on right now? Sanderson Ford's giving you the big payoffs, like 0% financing on new 2024 Ford F-150s, the XLT. How about the Escape, the Edge, the Explorer, the Expedition, all great cars that you need to go check out. And you're not going to get haggled into buying any car that you test drive. They've got the no nonsense, no hassle, no pressure sales approach, which is perfect. You can just go check out their beautiful inventory, learn up about these great vehicles, and if they're for you, and if they are, make a deal with one of our guys like Ron, one of the great sales associates there. 0% financing for 36 months, no payments for 90 days on the Ford F-150, Escape, Edge, Explorer, Expedition. Shop the Sanderson Ford playoff sale. No hassle, no pressure, no nonsense. Football's back, baby. And the deals at Arizona's largest Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. See dealer for details.
Football's back, and it's time to rock the number 18 collection. I'm rocking the math tee today. Straight fire. 1 + 18. 1 + 18 = 6. Had to double check my math. Times 2 on Sunday. Plus, we've got the Maserati Marv tee, a little bit of MHJ. Get any of these shirts right now. PHNXlocker.com, which redirects you to the ALLCITY shop, where you can pick up one of these shirts for free right now by becoming a diehard at GoPHNX.com. And the best part about becoming a diehard, you get 20% off all future purchases. Done deal. No questions asked. That means you can rep the number 18 collection in its completion from now until the end of time. And I'm ready to do a second order because I'm wearing these out, but they're fantastic. I wear them every day. I wear them to bed. I wear them to work out. I wear them on these shows. It is the premier t-shirt, and it is the premier collection. The number 18 collection. Get it now.
What stood out to you the most about Marvin Harrison Jr.'s second professional game where he was able to have so much success?
I think it was just really his stature out there. Like he looked like the best receiver. I mean, there's Cooper Kupp out there. I mean, there's a lot of great players. But he looked like he belonged. He looked like, all right, you want to get a passing game going, I'm your guy. And so it was every type of route. It was a bang eight. It was a deep cross. It was a back shoulder. It was a scramble drill. You saw the route tree. And then you just saw great hands, feet to get the feet down, understanding where he's at on the field, in order to stay in bounds on the sideline or the back of the end zone. Just a command of the position. And then, I mean, obviously Kyler was playing great football, but he's like, okay, I've got a dog out there. Let's get it to him. Let's get this thing started. And, it steamrolled quickly. But, I mean, I know the Rams are broken and, beat up, and that doesn't matter. It's a division game. They were ready to play, and they jumped on him real fast. And Marvin looked like he wanted to be the focal point of what this offense can be.
Let's jump into some of these Kyler Murray highlights. Kyler Murray, Baldy, coming off what a lot of people are assuming this is his best game maybe ever. What did the tape show you?
Well, just that. I mean,
and you had a 100-yard day on the ground from James Conner. Could have had 2 rushing touchdowns at one point. Kyler, the perfect passer rating. You talk about just the infrastructure from a play calling standpoint, 12, 13 personnel, and how that makes a guy like Kyler Murray so dangerous.
Well, you see how important the tight ends are right now. Elijah Higgins has a role in this team. They're in a lot of 2 tight end sets. But, James had a great season last year, but he's poised to have a better season this year. Like, it's a good group up front. I said it last year. Froholt belongs. Paris is in his right spot. They're lucky right now to have, a backup like Kelvin Beachum. Beachum's been around this league a long time. He's been a captain at SMU. He's been a captain in this league. Like, he is a polished veteran player. He can hold down the fort at right tackle. I just think that there's a good mix right now. They can run the football. They showed that last year, but there's a commitment to the run from Drew. And I think that's really important. And why wouldn't you? I mean, James is a great player and probably playing the most consistent football of his life these last 2 years.
We saw, I think, undoubtedly the best defensive performance maybe of the Jonathan Gannon era, giving up 10 points, albeit to Stafford and McVay, who were banged up, but it's still the quarterback head coach battery that you want to see if you're LA. And I think back to week 1 where they struggled in the second half. Where do you put the barometer on this defense now 2 weeks in? Because I think we would agree here on PHNX Cardinals, it's probably somewhere in between week 1 and week 2, but they are playing a lot of young players. They've got room to grow. They've got Darius Robinson eligible to return in just 2 weeks. Like, people look at this team and they want to shoot the accolades to the offense, but the defense, can it overachieve, or will it inevitably be the team's Achilles heel?
I don't believe so. I mean, they had a good game plan. They played a diamond front. They played, Lopez and the 2 defensive tackles in there, and Kazir White, middle linebacker. And, they played their safeties back, which teams are doing. And they can, because Baker is just so aggressive. I mean, he made every tackle in the first 10 plays of the game practically. Like, he's just, he strikes like a cobra. The corners are holding up right now. Now, they got a couple down the field, but you would expect that from Cooper and, Demarcus Robinson, whatever. They got a couple plays, but they kept him out of the end zone at the end of the game, end of the first half. And that was a great goal line stand right there. I think they understand maybe some of the limitations. They might not have some of the edge rushers, although Gardeck and Zavin and, the guys are doing just fine. Victor, they came off the edge, with a purpose. But I think they have a good scheme. I think you'll see a lot of that diamond scheme against Detroit to try and shut down the run. That's what teams are doing. They're loading up and just dirtying things up in the middle, making it tough to find creases. But if you're gap sound, doing the way they were and the way you are under a Jonathan Gannon defense, Nick Rails defense, like your gap sound, you're going to squeeze the running. Kyron Williams led the National Football League in rushing yards per game, and they shut him down on Sunday. So, this group coming to town, they got shut down by Tampa last week. I'm sure everybody in Arizona and studying the game tape of what Tampa did, Tampa defended the passes as well as you can. They made them, Jared Goff had 18 incompletions in that game. They played great pass defense, and they shut, for the most part, Montgomery and Gibbs down. Gibbs had a few, got a couple splits, but for the most part, they contained a very powerful rushing attack with a really good offense line. It shows you if you're gap sound, the things that you can do. And I think regardless what the names on the back of these jerseys are, they're capable of doing that.
Let's stay with that edge rushing group, because it was a group that came out of the gate strong last season like it did this season. 7 sacks, 5 from that group over on Sunday, 3 from Dennis Gardeck, 1 from Zaven Collins. What maybe would give Cardinals fans confidence that, they're going against the ravaged Rams offensive line? You got Penei Sewell in that really stout offensive line coming to town from Detroit, that they can consistently provide performances where they're getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks?
Well, if Gardeck is able to just run, I mean, they had an overload stunt, and Gardeck, shot the A gap from the outside linebacker spot. If he can flash stunt like that, and they got a contained rush on the outside coming the other way, I mean, I don't care what the name of the back of the jersey is. That's hard to stop. I mean, that's a good stunt, and they executed it well. He hit that thing the way you got to hit it, and I mean, really, you look at the Rams. I don't care who's in there right now. That's a hard thing to stop. So they can scheme some things. I thought that, Tampa doesn't have a lot of name guys, but I thought they pressured Jared Goff really good, and they weren't afraid to play Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and their tight end. They weren't afraid to play man coverage when they did blitz. And so, I mean, I think they could learn a lot from that game and how Tampa played them. They kept them to 16 points. That's a loaded offense. They kept them to 16 points, but they affected the quarterback. And that's the key. I mean, Jared Goff did not have a great day. And that was without Antoine Winfield Jr., who's their best defensive player. So, I think they can take a page from what Tampa did. They don't play the same style as what Todd Bowles does. But it's not like they're coming in there invincible. They are very good. Penei and, this Kevin Zeitler is a great right guard, and Ragnow's a Pro Bowler. We know the names. But, you play sound defense and you play sticky coverage, you make it tough for the quarterback.
You talked a little bit about this off air, Baldy. We'll get you out of here on this. The Arizona Cardinals, at what point are we as a fan base, we as a media community, able to say, hey, this team's for real, right? I know we're 2 weeks into the NFL season. Kyler Murray may be playing the best football of his career. You got some blossoming young players. Jonathan Gannon notches a big win over Sean McVay. And then you think about 2 weeks ago, the effort against Buffalo that I think we can really buy into now after week 2. Like, at what point can you say, like, this is a team that should factor in to a postseason berth if they keep this up throughout the course of, the NFC, playoff landscape?
Well, I think we said on every episode last year that this team plays hard. They play for the coach. What everybody wants to think about Jonathan Gannon, they play hard for him. They haven't ever played as hard in Philadelphia as they did for Gannon since he left. That's just a fact. They play hard for him. However he does it. I know a couple of his tricks, but they're playing hard. That's number one. But that was last year. Now that hard work, the commitment, the schemes, the game plans, like the only thing that gets you to believe in that is wins. And the best way to really believe in it is when you beat good teams. So if you take Buffalo to the brink, okay, it feels good, but it's not what they're about. That's over. Like, you got to beat good teams in this league. They got a 3-game homestand right now, and they're in the middle of it. And Detroit's a good team, really good team. It's a good roster. You beat the Detroit Lions, then you can start really thinking about, okay, we have what it takes in this room to play in January. Now, we've got to finish. We got to do a lot of things. But from a confidence standpoint, when you beat good teams, there's no better feeling. I mean, if you just watch the Atlanta Falcons go down and beat Philadelphia in the last drive, and you watch them go into the locker room with the celebration with Kirk Cousins in there, it's like they won the World Series. But that's what wins do against good teams. And you beat up on bad teams. There's a bunch of those in this league right now. But you beat a good team with a good roster, a team that's expected to play deep into January. Like, nothing will get you feeling better about yourself than that.
You can find on his Twitter account right now at Baldy NFL that Cobra Strike. He's talking about Budda Baker breakdown there. Also about Kyler Murray. Make sure it's a must follow. Our guy from the NFL Network, but he's our NFL analyst here at All City PHNX Cardinals. Brian Baldinger. Baldy, always great to catch up with you. Let's do it again next week.
Maybe it's after a win. That'd be something to talk about. That's for sure.
Great stuff from our guy Brian Baldinger. How about that money quote? Gannon, the ultimate motivator. Nick Sirianni. Directly, indirect shot, not so much. Love hearing that. Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire. We didn't get time with you
We
on
didn't.
Tuesday to talk about the fraudulent Sirianni Eagles, led by Big Dom, blowing that game to Kirk Cousins. What's your quick assessment of that?
Absolutely led by Big Dom. I don't think, anyone deserves blame other than him for the most part for that loss. Did you guys see the halftime interview with Nick Sirianni?
No, I missed that, but I was going to say something else about it. But what happened at halftime?
So they have a shot right on the field, and obviously Big Dom, Nick Sirianni's babysitter and his lapdog. He's right next to Nick Sirianni, and they're asking Sirianni questions about the first half, and Big Dom's in the background of the shot of the interview.
Yeah.
Then the ESPN camera starts shifting Big Dom out of the shot and closing in on Sirianni, and he walks over 10 yards into the camera. No, I swear to God, like, you guys need to look it up. It's unbelievable.
On Twitter, I'll have to look it up on
No
Twitter.
one loves the spotlight like Big Dom. And honestly, I just love seeing the Eagles lose.
Did you guys see that there's reports that Sirianni, I think he even confirmed this in his presser, that he didn't address the team after the loss? A player did?
I think it was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, player coach now. The Sirianni high school coach now. That's
Sirianni's like
the headlines today.
It wouldn't shock me. Like, the way he coaches is like a team dad. Like, if they were like, oh, we need a coach. What about Nicky Jr.'s dad? Is he?
Yeah, he's an adult.
AJ Brown, suppose he's gonna be out for a while. Like, that's a team that could go sideways real fast. They've
2-9 in their last 11.
Yes, I was just about to say that. They are who they are. It's great. I love it. I love these super chats too. Let's dive into these. Gannon and I, 199. Everything changes if we somehow beat Detroit. I think so. Again, you're not going to blow.
You said you're going to be talking about the division, winning the division if they beat Detroit.
I expect this team to contend for a playoff spot. I expect this team, if they beat Detroit, to contend for and be serious division contenders. How about that? 2 levels of hype.
Yep. Just living and dying with this team. Let's keep it going with Josh. Josh, 199. Victory lap to say JV is wrong about Gardeck. No doubt about it.
I don't know if I'm wrong about Dennis. I think that Dennis had a good day. And somebody tagged me in something that was like, hey, give Dennis his flowers because he didn't just beat up on the backup left tackle for the LA Rams. Didn't I? I said that on the postgame show. I said that on Monday, right? He won from 3 different spots: left tackle, right tackle, middle of the defense. I am a Dennis Gardeck. I'm pro Dennis being on this team and in the defensive line rotation.
What is Josh's picture? What does it say there too?
It says, I hate you. And it's a picture of Johnny saying that in a little comment bubble to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, why do you hate Marv, Johnny? He had
I
a
hate
huge
the show
game
right now. That's what I hate. I don't like the show. Oh, for show. $4.99. Hutchinson is going to have to deal with the tip this Sunday.
Wow. Tip Ryman's going to have to come in and help a little bit. Kelvin Beachum, maybe even Paris Johnson Jr. It just depends on what side Aiden Hutchinson's going to be coming off of.
Well, I've been diving in like a sicko to the premium stats on PFF, specifically with this offensive line, Bo. And Tip Ryman, yes, he's the 2nd lowest rated Cardinal offensive player. Actually, if by snaps alone, he's the lowest graded. Okay, only Clayton Tune is lower. But where he has struggled going and catching passes, 45.5 PFF rating. He has a stellar 74 rating as a pass protector. Okay. So I think you lean into that. I don't we know who he is. He's a guy that maybe over time can develop a niche and catch the football. That's not going to be in 2024, especially with Higgins playing the way he is. So I am totally comfortable with Tip Ryman saddling up next to one of the 2 tackles and helping out because they're going to need it because Hutchinson ate. Not against the left tackle for Tampa. He was over the right side, which is Kelvin Beachum. So
that's right.
They're going to need some help.
Calvin and Tip join forces and slow down Hutchinson.
Maybe move in together this week.
Yeah.
Do everything together.
Odd couple. That would be great. Little Tip and Calvin. And Tip and Beach. Grandpa and Tip. Whatever. We're workshopping it right here live on air. What that odd couple apartment living situation is going to
This
look
has
like for the
some
next couple
legs.
days. I think so too.
It's like a good reality show, I think. Flight plan.
Romantic comedy, maybe. How about a
Beach comes
Friday night
home.
sitcom?
You can't do pottery in the living room.
You know, birds aren't real, Beach. Get out. Get your stuff and get out. Yanks $4.99. High key. It's been a minute since we've had a game that can define the type of team the Cardinals can be for this season and moving forward. Need the dub. Absolutely. I think, again, had the Cardinals fluked their way into a victory over Sean McVay, like, we wouldn't be apologizing for a victory, but like there have been wins this franchise has netted. Like, I remember a game the year the Cardinals started white hot under Cliff in 2021, where they got thoroughly outplayed by Minnesota in week 2. And they somehow beat the Vikings. The Vikings outplayed them. Like, had that just happened at State Farm Stadium, we'd be like, I don't know, the susceptible to mistakes, defense, blah, 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 pass protection. The Cardinals were so dominant Sunday and called the Dogs off so early. Like, I don't even care if it was Kansas City coming in this weekend. Like, I have confidence that this team is at least going to show up now on Sundays.
Yeah, it was. I just saw that kicker that missed the 37-yarder in week 2 of that season for the Vikings. I think he just got signed by the Giants. Joseph.
That tracks. That tracks hard.
Jason with the super chat here. Thank you, Jason. $5. JV should be a team player and catch the business end of the pass rush if Gardeck eclipse 10 sacks this year. Johnny, you willing to say put yourself on the line if Gardeck reaches double digits? Are you willing to take a couple hits?
Well, yeah, I would let Dennis slap me around, but yeah, let's actually put some real terms on that, Jason, because I don't know. Dennis is a gentle soul off the field, as per our guy Britton Golden. So I'll put something on this right now. If Dennis gets 10 sacks, I'll do something. And if he doesn't, then I think maybe my 2 co-hosts have to do something. How about that?
If Dennis Gardeck doesn't do something he hasn't done his entire career.
Oh, wow. Why are you hating on Dennis?
Well, no.
Hear that, Damon? He's big time hating on Dennis Gardeck. Doesn't believe in him.
I think Johnny should have to grow out his hair like Dennis Gardeck if he gets 10 sacks.
He's had Gardeck hair before.
I have, yeah. I mean, I don't think you could handle that much aura on this show. If I went back down to hair to my shoulders, that'd be a favorite. That'd be a favorite to all the ladies watching. Okay, that'd be a favorite. That'd be a favorite to them on this show. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Red Sea, $5. If we beat the Lions, Johnny might get his wish, and Monty will probably acquire an edge rusher. Oh, God forbid this team gets better, Red Sea. Absolutely. No, in all seriousness, Bo and I were talking about this off air. Like, if they win again and the pass rush looks like that, I don't know if they go out and make another move. Like, the move that I was pushing for, which, by the way, is still Reddick's not playing this week. He's going to miss 3 games. It's hilarious. Right. The move that I was contending for is going to push the Cardinals over the top to get to the playoffs, right? Like, if this team's 3 to 5 wins and they need a boost in the second half, like that's in my opinion when you make the move. If this team beats the Lions this weekend and looks good defensively again, I don't know if they have an incentive to do that. Now, if they lose this week and the pass rush is floundering again and they're hovering around 500, I'm going to continue to bang that drum. And I think we've entered, fair or not, especially with one more win here on this homestand, we need to trade to get better this year. Like, I want to see a move before the deadline to fortify this front 7. We've reached that.
I want to do? Sunday's a big day, right? Not only is it week 3, Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions, it's also Hassan Reddick's birthday. Do you know how old he's turning on Sunday?
It doesn't matter if he's turning 30.
It's a big one. That's right. The big 3-0. Johnny's like, hey, let's give up draft capital, give him the big extension, whatever it takes, baby.
Oh, sorry. I want to win games. Dwight Freeney came to Arizona at like 35 years old.
Yeah, he was a street free agent.
If memory serves me, Hassan Reddick was grossly mismanaged early in his career. I don't think he's got as much mileage on his body. I think
he cost you nothing but the salary you paid him.
I think you could get 3 if you bring in Reddick right now and give him a 3-year extension. I think he could see at least 2 years of that with high-end play. You have nothing to stand on long-term at the position. Like, make an investment. David, thank you for investing $5 super chat. We could beat Jesus and the apostles this week, and they still hate. Big NFL hates the Cards. We got to have one game and one time mentality. Hashtag hold the line. You're 100% right, David.
The Apostles were a squad back in the day. They had a real good. The Apostles, they had a pass rush and
depth.
They won on the trenches.
Weren't there 12 of them? They had a bench guy, and they were good. They had a lot. They had some depth and then some.
Listen, I know Star Wars lore. I don't know a ton about Jesus talk, but I'm going to take your guys' word for it. But yeah, I saw the 33rd team had Kyler Murray entering this week as the 9th best quarterback behind Matthew Stafford. I wanted to break my computer over my leg. It was like, can we not do this? Kyler Murray, by all accounts, had not only the best game of his Cardinal career, Sunday was the best game played by a quarterback this year. And it's like, you know what? 9th in the NFL right now. 9th, right?
What I saw from Matthew Stafford was the 4th best quarterback in the league on Sunday. Didn't you see that too?
Yeah.
It was an embarrassing list.
Matthew Stafford just completely outdueled Kyler Murray and losing by 30 plus points. Let's put him. Matthew Stafford, I think, could be like 2 to 3 months away from just being completely irrelevant for the rest of his NFL career. I have no issue saying that.
If memory serves me correctly, the 33rd team has a bunch of people who used to work in the NFL in high-ranking positions, from like general managers to head coaches.
That makes me think less of the NFL people who work in the NFL.
Did they task somebody? Like, was it a requirement to have not watched any football this season?
I'm getting the list. To Damon. We need to bring it up on the show. Is it one of the most egregious things we've seen so far?
Can't you just read it off? We don't have to put it up there.
I want a visual. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get some reads in. We're gonna do hold or fold the line, and then we're gonna break down these QB power rankings that make me want to throw up all over myself. But next is hold or fold the line. I'm 0-2 on the year, but I'm trying my best, and I feel like I've got a banger for everybody this week. But before I do, I've got a banger of a deal with my friends for you at Circle K, America's thirst stop. It's the free new membership program. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. It's like, I feel like I'm at Circle K more than I'm not at Circle K because of all the deals that they have, like the Polar Pops, the Frosters, 79 cents. All you got to do, download the Circle K app, the Inner Circle, go over to offers, and just scan, right? Sometimes you need stuff you don't even know that you need, but you need to save money, and you can do that with our friends right now at Circle K. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Again, 25 cents. First 5 fill-ups, you're going to save a quarter every time you fill up your gas tank. That adds up. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more details.
Tough to beat that, and tough to beat the immaculate vibes over at Gila River Resort and Casinos. It's great to have 3 home games in a row, but it takes us away from our watch parties where we achieve legendary status each and every road game Sunday with our live party and our live shows, our watch party and live shows, the away games over at Gila River Resort and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass. Visit any of their 4 locations, though: Wild Horse Pass, Lone Butte, Vequiva, Santan Mountain. Experience the best that the Valley has to offer with our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. They show you what the next level is all about. And we're going to continue to host events there all year long, including cards, Suns watch parties, and more. Stay tuned with more info to come your way and how you can come hang out with the PHNX sports crew. Get out there. Table games. Is that what you're about? Do you like the sports book? They've got something for everyone, including, even though the temperatures are dropping, some pool time. You can go hang out in any of their beautiful pools that they have at their fantastic resorts. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playgila.com for more details. That's Gila, GILA.com for more details.
This is a fun comment here. We were talking about this off air. Hunter, Johnny is wrong every week. If he picks us to lose again, that'll be a good sign. I feel like I need to lean into this now. I don't know if I can ever pick this team again. I tried to be fanboy pom-pom guy week 1, and everybody laughed at me. And I was about to be proven right. Here's the tough part about my Cardinal predictions and a hold or fold the line is I feel good about what's going on for about 3 quarters, and then things just fall dramatically by the wayside, which brings us into, we do it every week. We pick 3 lines that we like, and we pose it to our co-hosts here on PHNX Cardinals. Do you hold with your bros, or do you fold the line?
Before we jump straight into it, let's take a peek back at last week's and just kind of discuss Bo. Obviously, maybe pick of the week. I mean, it was pretty incredible play on your part. I'll be the first to say it. And then the Jets, I believe, squeaked out victory for me. Made me 2-0.
They covered 3.5.
Yeah, they won by 7. And then Johnny, you probably should have got that W.
I am making a point, and I've made this clear to everybody here. Not only are my bets going to be extra sick, I will never not do plus money for the people here. And I am 2 fourth quarter collapses away from being 2-0 for plus money. Bo Nix let me down week 1 with his rag arm, and then Danny Dimes last week. The Giants were winning that whole game. The Giants scored 2 touchdowns. Washington didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And Washington won that game with 7 field goals or something. My God. Have some
Never saw it coming. Never saw it coming. Bo Nix and Danny Dimes letting you down in the fourth quarter. Who could have predicted that?
Didn't the Giants kick all field goals on Sunday?
No, Washington did.
Commanders did. Commanders didn't score. They still won. They didn't score a touchdown.
Well, Johnny, I also made us a nifty little tracker here. How we could track our bets for the season. Oh my! Look at that.
Gross. You know what? That's fine. This looks like the Subway logo. I'm gonna turn this around. I'm gonna go on a heater.
Be respectful. Don't call it the Subway logo. I mean, this is a great graphic. You're just mad because you don't have money bags for eyes like Damon and myself.
Don't be selfish. All right. I'm about ready. Sorry, I'm not picking layup minus 500 picks every week like you bros.
Mine was plus money last week. Look at
that. That's shocking to me that the Bills were underdogs on the road. We might need to go back in time and confirm that. I feel that's extra sketch right now. Super extra sketch. All right. Enough of this garbage. Let's jump into this week's predictions. I'm going to get back on track. I'm going to start with my prediction because I'm upset. Chargers money line. They get to play Justin Fields, the cult of Justin Fields, big time fraud, albeit on the road. I love Jim Harbaugh, as you know. I've attested my love for him many, many times. He's a friend of the family. And I think Justin Herbert playing efficient. He brought Quentin Johnston back from the dead, 2 touchdowns last week. They've got the best bookend pair of tackles in Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. Fortify that offensive line against TJ Watt. Then on the flip side, I would be shocked. The Chargers have the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. This is a Justin Fields unravel game. I won't be surprised if we see old man Russell Wilson in this game. Chargers roll to 3-0 plus 105 for your boy.
I don't hate it. No, I don't know if I have held with you this season, but I do like this bet. I do like it's plus money, plus 105. Chargers are playing really good football. I think they're less fraudulent than the Steelers and having Fields potentially start for a 3rd consecutive week. I'm going to hold with you on this one, Johnny. I like it. Let's do it. Let's hold the line in the Steel City this weekend together.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Bo. I honestly, I saw Johnny's pick because he got his in first, and I was a little jealous that I didn't get to take that because it feels pretty easy that the Chargers are going to beat the Steelers. The Steelers are not starting 3-0. They are not. I refuse to believe it.
I almost got really gross, and I had Carolina over Las Vegas at plus 195, and it took everything in me to delete it and substitute the Chargers. But everybody just know if the Panthers win, that's what I wanted to do. But I've been bullied out of it by my peers.
Johnny, you
nobody bullied you out of that.
You indirectly bullied me.
That pick.
See, you know what? I actually got bullied by my peers out of that pick because I was sitting here. You can ask Derek or Kevin. I was sitting here and I kept bringing up, but guys, what about the Panthers? And I really wanted to take Panthers money line. I thought about taking Panthers plus 5.5.
Damon, a real man would. A real man.
You're
going back to the well. You're going back to your Darnold and your Daniel Jones picks.
Yeah, we're fading back QBs. That's where we're back to old reliable. Week 1, Danny Dimes, first quarter interception, cash that bet. Sam Darnold taking on the Texans this weekend. That defense was swarming on Sunday Night Football against the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams threw 2 interceptions, got knocked down like every drop back. I think Sam Darnold's going to see ghosts this weekend. Will Anderson Jr. He's going to cause some pressure, wreak some havoc, and he's going to Sam Darnold interception -125.
A little paranormal activity upcoming this Sunday with Sam Darnold -125. I like it. I think it's pretty much a lock. I'm with you. I will hold the line, and I'll admit this, as disgusting as it sounds, like we would have probably been a united front. Panthers money line I think they get the backup quarterback bump against a bad Raiders team.
I think that's the Raiders, they're feeling hot after winning in Baltimore. I just feel like this is the most buy low spot for the Panthers you could possibly find them in. And it just feels like everyone's going to look at that line, say Raiders -250. I'm putting that in my parlay. And then it's going to be what kills every bet this weekend. So I guess that'll be our team hold or fold the line.
Yeah. I'll hold it with you both as well. I want the NFL to expose frauds this week. We only have so many opportunities. I think the Vikings are big time frauds. I don't buy Sam Darnold for a second. I buy DeMeco Ryans coming into Minnesota and just whooping up on Kevin O'Connell. I buy their edge rushers, clearly Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr. I clearly buy CJ. I would love a shellacking by Houston, and I think it's going to happen. And then we can't the Seahawks get to fraud it up again this weekend. It's sick. It's sickening against Skylar Thompson in Miami. There are going to be frauds exposed this weekend. This can't continue. Baker and Darnold and Geno Smith, 1 week at a time, we got to start cutting these guys down. And Darnold, this is your time.
I'll wrap this up with my hold or fold the line. I have Packers money line. Now, some interesting news came out today, but the line remains money line +110. Packers taking on, speaking of frauds, who continues to I don't know if he's fighting allegations, but each and every week he's getting MF'd by his head coach, Brian Callahan, and Will Levis, and he makes a backbreaking turnover. I expect him to do it again this week at home against the Packers. Does Jordan Love come back? It helps my case a little bit more. I'm locking this bet in today, so it's not going to matter. And if not, it's a Malik Willis revenge game, and I'll ride that all the way to cashing my my bet as well. So I like Packers money line. I think they're one of the more complete rosters in the league. And is the game plan going to work where they don't have to throw the ball really at all like Malik Willis did this previous Sunday? Probably not, but they'll have enough run game and defense to get it done against Will Levis and crew in our beloved to hated Titans, dropping to 0-3.
I think you can make a case that if Brian Callahan loses to Malik Willis at home, you have to fire Brian Callahan. I think that's a fireable offense. I'm being serious. If he has to go to the podium after they've embarrassed themselves the first 2 weeks, and then you lose to Malik Willis, who a lot of us thought maybe was not an NFL player, like he was Bryce Young a month ago, I think you have to fire Brian Callahan. So I would love to see Green Bay lose this game, but I'm with you, Bo. I think that low of the Tennessee Titans and their infrastructure. And here's the deal. Their general manager told the Cardinals, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm not interested in your opening.
Thanks.
Thanks for nothing, loser. Nice team. Yeah, I'll hold with you. The Packers, Packers infrastructure of winners are going to go and beat the infrastructure of big time losers in Tennessee. Packers head coach way higher of just a football mind than Brian Callahan.
Yeah,
I'll hold with you as well, Bo. If Jordan Love plays, just chalk this one up.
Yeah. All right. Well, look at that. We went 3 for 3.
We were all on the same page. It's time to rebuild and it's time to celebrate because this team is heading in the right direction despite this egregious 33rd team, which should be the last team you ever consider reading, rankings. Let's see him, Damon, Dawg. We mentioned him earlier. The grossest of the gross by Dan Pizzuta, who I almost added today. Poor guy, though. You know what? I don't want to. He gets one mulligan. This is it this week. Kyler Murray, who you can make an argument is the best quarterback in the NFL right now, behind the likes of Joe Burrow, who's 0-2, Matthew Stafford, who Kyler Murray spanked in his own building this weekend, and Dak Prescott. No chance. I think you switch K1 and Lamar Jackson, and you can talk me into it.
Yeah, Lamar is too high right now. I know he's coming off the MVP season, but the Ravens seem like they are in shambles right now, especially on the offensive side of the football. I don't know if I would switch him all the way down to 9, but I've got Kyler higher on this list, Jackson lower on this list, Stafford, Prescott lower on this list.
Is Justin Herbert averaging like 120 passing yards a game right now?
It's not very high. I know he had 2 touchdown passes last game, both to Johnston, and they're just leaning on J.K. Dobbins early on.
But what are we talking about?
I don't.
The Chargers are winning.
At least
running
they have
the football.
Purdy probably pretty well ranked. Maybe he could stand the slide down a little bit more.
I don't mind that Herbert ranking just because they're 2-0. He's
How
been
about the
efficient.
Baker disrespect here? I mean, Goff
That's
and Mayfield, they deserve to be higher and closer.
Trevor Lawrence is unwatchable right now. He is unwatchable. They're awful.
Except for Brian
Trevor.
Thomas.
Derek Carr, I mean, I don't love Derek Carr, but that's a joke. Anthony Richardson is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL right now. 18th over Darnold. This guy, it's like, tell me you don't watch the NFL. Tell me you put these in a scrambler and went off a jersey sale.
What about Caleb Williams? He looked horrible on Sunday. I mean,
Caleb
I know
should be close to last. You're right, Damon.
Turnstile O-line this past Sunday, but like,
I don't care about that.
He doesn't belong at 22nd. And then also just like back to our Titans conversation, like that's got to hurt, right? Malik Willis just right above Will Levis.
Yep. Big time salt in the wound there. Big time.
I don't have sympathy for injuries. I don't have sympathy for offensive line because nobody nationally had sympathy for the Cardinals when Kyler Murray has endured that for 6 years. So Caleb Williams, like, I love you. I hope you do well. I don't care that your offensive line took the night off against Houston to play better. I watched Kyler Murray. I'm being serious now. I watched Kyler Murray take over the worst offense in modern NFL history and come out and look super high level and efficient en route to Offensive Rookie of the Year. Nobody talks about that. It was the same players. It was like Christian Kirk and Fitz and Farrell Cooper and David
Samir
Johnson.
Bird.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, they were like 13th in offensive efficiency as a rookie for Kyler. The Josh Rosen 2018 Cardinals were the worst offense in modern NFL history. Could barely cross midfield.
Yeah. I think the Patriots might have beat that a season or so ago.
Gotcha.
But it was like they just scored over 14 points a game. It was atrocious. Like since the real kind of the forward pass became, a big part in the NFL, like they had to go way back to those times, like to find stats that low. But for Kyler to go in and even, Cliff was, the new play caller at that time and they could put up points and they couldn't do that the previous season. It was brutal week in and week out.
And now like Caleb, I mean, I think Caleb's going to figure it out. I don't know though. Like he has to fight history of Chicago Bears football, which is not great quarterback play. So
he needs protection and he needs, good play calling. I mean, that would go a long way for him.
I heard RK say it on the All-City NFL show that you did this past weekend, Johnny. And he talked about watching Caleb Williams in college and him just kind of getting out of that like Superman mindset. Mm-hmm. And I think that will come with time. Yeah. Like I still believe in Caleb Williams, but there was like a play, for example, where it was a slant. Someone ran a slant and he pump faked it and didn't make the throw and then just got lit up from his blind side. And it's like you in the NFL, you can't pump fake on a slant there. You either have to throw it or get out of the pocket. And it'll come, but it's just a timing thing, I think, right now.
Nate Davis is probably the worst starting offensive lineman in the NFL.
Didn't they give him a big deal?
I think so.
I saw a clip. Did you see that one clip where he like just was walking around, didn't block anybody? It's like doing the robot downfield.
The ball is snapped. He just moves forward. The defensive lineman goes past him straight to Caleb Williams, and then Nate Davis goes and tries to meet somebody on the next level, and it didn't even matter.
And then he was actively avoiding touching people. Greg Braggs Jr. of CHGO Bears, friend of this program, called for him to be cut the same day. Like, wow, we're doing that now? Here's what I will say. Roma Dunze, I like Roma Dunze. He hasn't been healthy, But Rome Odunze, I think we're starting to see, at least early on, could not have the same kind of impact as Marv or even Malik Willis. I like Rome
Neighbors,
but excuse me, Malik Neighbors. So yeah,
it was a little high, but that end zone target he got, he needs to come down with that. I don't know if you saw that play. He had two hands on a football.
Well, Brian Thomas Jr. has been better, Damon. I mean, fair or not, your boy Lad McConkey's been better. So
Lambo Lad.
Yeah, lads. Tyler P, $6.99. We've had a great track record against the Lions in recent years. Hopefully that continues Sunday. Cards fam from Montreal, Canada. The Cardinals for a long time really took the Lions to the woodshed, and I think maybe the Lions nipped them the last couple of times. But
Kyler's 0-2-1 against the Lions. So his first career start was against Detroit. That was a tie.
Yeah.
And then he's dropped that 2021 one. That was it. That might, like, if you were to say, hey, tell me the true end of kind of the Kingsbury era, like where it started, it was that game. They went up to Detroit. Dan Campbell's team.
Quit.
Did they have one win at the time?
Yep, they were en route. They were 1-11.
Yeah,
Cardinals
and
were
they
like 17
beat the holy hell out of the Cardinals that day. Like it wasn't close, and that it was like they, went into the playoffs. It was disastrous, and then after that, like Cliff couldn't get the team in a spot to be consistent.
Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Like this video. Again, the goal each and every football day we do this show, at least 500 likes. So much good content coming down the pipeline. We got just a sneak peek of our guy Baldy, but Bo, we've got the full interview dropping mañana on YouTube tomorrow, which includes play breakdowns of both K1 and Marvin Harrison Jr. Bo.
Yeah, you don't want to miss on that. Well, I'll be out there at practice tomorrow for the Cards, but no show. But you can kind of get your PHNX Cardinals fix with a little Baldy breakdowns. So don't miss out on that. Plus, we'll be back with a full preview show on Friday for Week 3 Cards Lions.
Yeah, we'll be there with our guy Craig Morgan and company. Can the Cardinals make it 2 in a row, specifically at State Farm Stadium? Subscribe. Really want to emphasize to everybody, bust out your mobile phone, your smart device. Find PHNX Cardinals wherever you get your podcasts. We drop audio exclusive content that we don't put anywhere else for your podcast feed. So you got something every single day just about. Really helps the show when you download. Leave us a 5-star review if you'd be so inclined. We are en route, this little podcast, fanboy podcast that could, to having our biggest month ever here at PHNX Sports, PHNX Cardinals. It's a testament to all of you. So we appreciate you all. I appreciate my co-hosts holding the line this week with Bo Brack, Damon, Dawg. I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you on Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.